Hi everyone, my name is Emily and I'm the young adult librarian at the Rock Island Public Library, and today's Manga Monday title is Delicious in Dungeon. And this series, it's been adapted as an anime, started airing on Netflix, I think at the start of this year, and I've just started this series and I'm really enjoying it. It is about team adventurers, and they live in a world in which years ago, there was a village, and one day the catacombs, just part of sort of the underground place where many dead are buried, part of the catacombs caved in, and a person was found inside. And a man emerged and said that he was the king of a golden country that had fallen 1,000 years ago. And the kingdom was sealed beneath the earth by a lunatic magician, and there it remained. And so this king, with his dying breath, bestowed his entire kingdom on whoever could defeat the magician. And so this kicked off a whole series of people from different walks of life with different skills, starting to explore the dungeons to try and find said magician. And that's how we meet Laios. And at the start of this first volume, he and his group are fighting this dragon. But the problem is they've had some setbacks recently, and they've lost their supplies. They aren't really doing super well food-wise at the moment. And literally, as they're fighting this dragon, like Laios is thinking, I'm hungry. And it's because of this, I mean, he's distracted, he knows. And his younger sister, she actually pushes him out of the way. And in doing so, she is chopped up by this dragon. And what you should know is that Laios' younger sister, she's named Fallen, and she's a magic user. So right before she can be swallowed by this dragon, she ends up casting a spell that sends the rest of the party above ground and saves their lives, essentially. So here's the thing about getting out of the dungeon. When they're above ground, Laios wakes up and he finds 2 members of their party have resigned. They have left behind letters of resignation while he was unconscious. And so the only people left are Marcille, and she is another magic user. And then there is Chilchuk, and he is the picklock for the group, the person who makes sure they're not walking into a trap in the dungeon. So it's just these 2. And I mean, Laios explains that, okay, well, Fallen got eaten. But good news, because this is a world with magic and lots of supernatural stuff. So Laios knows, okay, if we can get back to my sister before she's digested, yes, she's dead, but we can revive her. She can be brought back to life. So the plan is to do this, but the group is low on food. They've been low on food for a bit. And Laios knows, okay, I gotta get back there though. That's my sister. I can't let her die. I don't have time to run back to town and buy new food. So his first idea is, okay guys, just give me all your stuff. I'll go alone. Don't worry about it. She's my sister. This is my fault. I let us into this. I'm gonna go get her out. But then Marcille and Chilchuk both say, no, she's our friend too. We care about her. We're gonna come with you. And at first Laios is like, oh, you guys. But then he puts a hand on each of their shoulders and says, you really intend to come with me, no matter what? And these 2 are like, uh-huh. And so here's the plan that Laios pitches to them. He says, look, in the dungeon there are all these creatures. And because there are things living there, we understand there is an ecosystem. These things eat each other, and that's how they survive. So what if we started eating monsters too? And right away, there's some strong reactions to this. Marcille, especially in this first volume, is just grossed out in a lot of chapters. And I don't think this is entirely unfair. We don't know how long this group has been together at this point, but we do know that, hey, stuff like mushrooms that have legs and feet, or these giant scorpions, they've not treated these as food before. But then the group meets this guy. This is a dwarf named Senshi. And he is somebody who's spent the last 10 years in the dungeon. And in spending time in this place, he's learned the best ways to prepare different creatures. You can see, this is all the different supplies he carries. And he knows, okay, this is the best way to kill something based on its anatomy. And this is the best way to cook it. So part of the reason he joins the group. First of all, he loves the fact that Laios is interested in cooking monsters. Like, there's a scene at the very beginning where Chilchuk says, "Admit it, you've been waiting for a chance to eat this stuff for ages, haven't you?" And Laios kind of blushes, but then he says, "I really do want to save my sister, though. Like, okay, yes, obviously that's the most important thing. But if I get to eat monsters along the way, that's great too." And so Senshi, I mean, he has the tools, he has the knowledge to help the group do this, and soon they're eating all kinds of delicious things down in the dungeon. They have hot pot, they have tart, they even find a way, there's roast basilisk, which looks very yummy, because basilisk, most of it's very chicken-like, except for the tail. Although we find in this book, the tail, quote unquote, that's a snake, apparently that's not the tail. Like, the chicken part is technically the tail and the snake is the head. So that's fun. So you learn a lot about different creatures in this book, different monsters that live in the dungeon. And also you get to know these different adventurers and their skills and how, I mean, sometimes these things, like in their planning to eat things, like you have to plan. You have to sort of make this a part of your life in the dungeon. At the end of the 3rd chapter, unless you eat, you can't get strong. Unless you're strong, you can't eat. How to combat this contradiction? Dungeon food. And so the creatures are supposed to be the food. But of course they would like to make a meal of adventurers. And like in the 4th chapter, Senshi actually gets oil to make like fried food from one of the traps. Like he sets this off, or he actually has Chilchuk set it off on purpose. And Chilchuk's like, "No, you're gonna get burned with hot oil." And it's like, no, we'll use it for cooking. So it's a lot of fun. On the back, you get the different creatures that they eat/kill in this first volume. And I really love the art. I really like the story too, and the characters. This is one I'd heard about for a while, and I thought, yeah, I'll probably like this. And sure enough, that has been the case. So if you like fantasy, if you like manga, check this out. And thank you for watching. I will see you again in April.